Okay, so we're in the Toyota, how do we pronounce it? Mirai?
Mirai.
Okay, excellent. So just going through startup now.
No, it's automatic confirmation.
So, I mean, you're ready to roll. It's just
Right.
a foot operated brake. So just on the left hand side to release, and then off you go, automatic into drive, and you are good to go. So.
Great. So Neil, tell me
Yes.
a little bit about what you do with Toyota.
Well, I'm product manager for a number of cars, but including Mirai. So my role is to bring these vehicles to market in the UK. So make sure that they're suitable and structured as far as specification and price, and then launch them for sale in the UK. So that's primarily my role.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about this vehicle then. What do you?
Well, this is a very unique car. We're driving in a fuel cell car, so this is our very first mass-produced, first production car of a fuel cell vehicle for Toyota. So in essence, what we have here is a hybrid car underneath. So we produce many millions of hybrids already. So it's got a hybrid DNA, but instead of say a traditional petrol gasoline engine bolted to a hybrid system, we have a fuel cell stack. So ultimately what that is and where that is, we have the fuel cell stack sitting right underneath us at the front, and the particular stack that we use in this car is a stack of 370 cells, which each produce 1 volt each, and then we have the means where we increase that voltage up to 650, which goes through to the electric motor at the front of the car, and then will drive the wheels. But the unique aspect of this car really is the range that we achieve with a fuel cell car. So the official figure for this car is 342 miles on the official statistics.
Right.
And the refueling time, so versus say EV charging, you can refuel this car in circa 3 to 4 minutes, and then your range is replenished.
Range being what?
342 miles.
Okay. And the hydrogen fuel cell is powered by the hydrogen, which supplies the energy to the battery, and the battery then stores the energy?
No,
is that how it works?
Well, in essence, you've got 2 hydrogen tanks at the rear of the car. So you've got a mini power generator underneath. So that's really what the fuel cell is doing. So it's at all times that we're driving, it's pulling in the hydrogen. You're getting a reaction to a catalyst, which breaks the hydrogen out into an electron and an ion, basic chemistry. The electron completes the circuit in the cell and then joins up obviously with the air to produce H2O water as the byproduct. So in essence, the electricity is going straight into the motor. So it's not going into a battery to then power the car. The electricity is going straight into the electric motor at the front of the car. This does have a hybrid battery, like our other hybrid vehicles, which can help support the drive, but the primary aspect of the fuel is driving it direct from the fuel cell. So hydrogen
is driving the wheels forward, basically. It's driven purely
after the reaction.
The motor,
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. And why would you not store energy in the battery? Is that because it would become too heavy, or how does it?
I mean, it does store energy.
Yeah.
So similar to say a Prius or a petrol hybrid. So you have a high voltage hybrid battery. So similar to that setup, the computer in the car will judge how the car's being driven and what's being needed. So what I mean by that is that you can have an instance where the car will drive solely on the hybrid battery, solely on the fuel cell, or a combination of the two.
Okay.
So you get a constant interchange in the car.
Why did you go down the hybrid route? Because I mean, early fuel cell vehicles were pure fuel cell. What's made the decision to hybridize?
We really brought forward the learnings that we've had from running hybrids in the market for 20 years. So we felt that was a modular system that we could adapt for different powertrains moving forward, and we felt that worked very well. It delivered the kind of drive that people want, and balanced out the requirements on the primary power as well. So when not needed, you don't need to pull on the fuel cell or the petrol engine. You know, that's the principle of the hybrid. So it's a system that we know and have run and developed over a good number of years, and we felt that was the ideal combination.
Tell me about bringing the car to market then. How, I mean, you know, you're one of the first, aren't you, really to have a production-ready car? This feels like a production car. It's like a Prius I was in not that long ago, actually.
I mean, this is the first mass-produced car.
Yeah.
We're not the first in the market. You know, others have come before. Honda Clarity, Hyundai obviously have a fuel cell out.
Yeah.
But this is something that is being produced in major numbers now. So we launched the car last year. First launched in the Japanese domestic market. So to give you an idea of some of the numbers that we're talking about, globally production was 800 units last year, 2,000 this year, 3,000 next year. So still small numbers in a grand scheme of things when we're producing millions a year as a company. However, to give you some of the idea of the reception is in Japan, they sold, or took orders I should say, for about 1,500 within the first couple of months. So they totally stripped out global supply, thus the ramp up in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's also launched in California, as to what you'd expect, and Europe. So we were the first of 3 countries in Europe to take it, so we were very privileged to get the opportunity to launch it in the marketplace. Now here, volume is low, infrastructure is small, so it's very much the job for this is really to show intent, that we're committed to it as a global company, but to encourage that infrastructure growth, because yes, infrastructure in the UK is around 6 stations at the moment, and maybe hitting 10 at the end of the year. So there's some coming through.
No, it's growing fairly rapidly then. For how it has
and we're
been.
starting to see some major players come in. So Shell are expressing an interest. So this is what we really want: is some proper fuel retailers to join, and they have stations operating across Europe already. Yeah. So it's a step by step. Us showing the commitment with volume and a comprehensive manufactured product, so hopefully the investment in infrastructure steps on and we sort of edge forward together to build that growth and perception.
How does it drive? What do you think?
It's absolutely fabulous. I mean, the best thing I think you can say about a fuel cell car, and you know, in a very positive way, is it's just like any other car. It's great. Yeah. You know, that's what. It's not a quirky device. It's not a.
Yeah, if you want to back in there or just go in front.
And without the range anxiety in a car like this, hopefully, once the infrastructure.
Well, this is it. Infrastructure needs to get going, and we're seeing it. But yeah, you know, you're talking a competent range, and to give you an idea, you know, that the official figures are 342. We're running a couple of these with Green Tomatoes in London, who I'm sure you're familiar with. Yes. They're getting real world about 290 at the moment, pretty good return. We're very pleased with the real world experience within London of some of the early cars that are operating, and they're doing obviously some reasonable mileage every day with their clients. So yeah, 280, 290.
Brilliant.
Just park and
can you just show us a little bit of the control while we're in the vehicle? Is that possible? I see that you've got some of the drivetrain shown at the top and so on as we were moving around. Is there anything in terms of the hydrogen setup that's very different to being in?
I mean, ultimately that's the main display that you would see in similar to the hybrid, where you're seeing the exchange of the power as to what I described, whether you're on hybrid battery only or fuel cell is driving the car, so that interchange as you're driving along. The other displays primarily are more what you're getting as a return, so your fuel consumption, and you're dealing with kilograms here, so you're moving into new territory as far as MPG doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. But primarily I think anyone who's looking at an alternative fuel car looks at range as a directive, probably, and as a judge, and what you're getting as a return, rather than necessarily an MPG. So I mean, in this, to give you an idea, it's 5 kilos of hydrogen is the full tank capacity. So yeah, you're judged on a kilo per 100 kilometre as a measurement, but most people will naturally see how much range they get on it.
Okay, and what does a kilo of hydrogen cost right now?
Kilo is around, probably find it about 14, 15 pounds. So you're talking about 50, 60 pounds to fill a tank. So comparable, give or take. I mean, it depends on the supplier. There's a couple of different players in the market, but yeah, generally that 10 to 15 pound mark for a kilo.
Great. Well, I hope to see many of them on the road soon.
Fingers crossed. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, so, thank you, and thank you for driving so well. That was brilliant. Beautifully driven.
Thank you. Keep the camera steady.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cheers.
The motor, the fuel cell is under the front seats, and you've got the hydrogen tanks, two of them on the rear seat.